Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making some spring wall art with these thrifted frames. And I got my inspiration from my friend Paula, who gave this to me as a gift. And I thought she did such a beautiful job. It made me want to create some of my own. Now, I love these little eggs that were in her piece, and I love that splattered look. So I'm going to try to create that with mine. And I've taken some clay that just doesn't work well in my molds and shaped it in the shape of eggs and let it dry. Actually let them dry a couple of days. And then one of my viewers gave me a great idea in how to paint these. And I just put about a tablespoon of this drop cloth paint in this baggie with just a few drops of water, and it covered these really well. Now I think it did need a little bit of water because otherwise I feel like it would have been too thick on here, but yeah, her idea was just great. And then I got another idea from a viewer to let them dry in an egg crate, and also another great idea. So I just let them dry on one side and then turned it over and let that side dry, and it really worked out well. And I'm going to create those little specks on the eggs with just some watered down brown paint. This is just an acrylic paint, and I added just a few drops of water to it. And then I'm taking this little craft brush from the Dollar Tree, and it was the perfect brush to do this little splattering method with. And if you've not tried this, just like I said, water your paint down just a little bit, not too much, because you don't want it to drip after the specks are there. You don't want those specks to drip, but it just kind of flick that brush, and it makes just a really good look for your eggs. And then I just let that dry and turn them over and do the other side. And now I'm just going over each of these frames that I've cleaned first with 2 coats of Dixie Belle in the color drop cloth. Now, any white color I think would work for this. And I'm not sponsored by Dixie Belle, but or anyone for that matter. But this has become my go-to color. I like it because it doesn't have too much yellow in it or too much gray. Obviously, I let the coats dry in between, and like I said, I just give them 2 coats on all 3 of these frames. And one of these frames is plastic, but it still paints up really well. I'm seeing these frames or this wall art that we're doing on Pinterest a lot, and so when I got this from Paula, I definitely wanted to try this one out. And this is that plastic frame, but it covered really well, and I really like this frame because it's got so much detail. So I'm going to take advantage of that detail when I do a wax coat on it. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for all your support and all the kind words. It amazes me how many kind people are out there, even in other countries. It really warms my heart to read some of your comments. Now I'm going to put some decoupage straight on the glass of this one piece. It just depends on how my frame is made, but a lot of times I just decoupage straight onto the glass, and then again I'm doing straight onto the glass here. And then why not? I just decided to go on the glass with all 3 of these because I really didn't want glass over the top of either of these. I preferred the look of the paper, and then to protect that paper, just that coat of Mod Podge will work just fine. So with this frame, I decided to go with clear wax first because I want to put some paint on this one. I like this color of pine cone in the Dixie Belle. And so I didn't want that pine cone to completely cover up my color. I just kind of wanted to use it as a wax. So I just put a good coat of clear coat on here, and then a coat of this pine cone, and then I wiped that off. And I was really happy with the look that I got here. I determined the wax color by what I'm putting inside the frame. And here I'm going with a clear wax, because with Dixie Belle waxes, it's recommended that you put a clear coat on first before you do any dark waxes. And on this one, I wanted to go with a black wax because I'm going to be using music in this one, and obviously there's the black lettering to play off of, and so I knew what look I wanted for this frame. Now, one thing that was an accident, because I didn't clear coat this first, and I didn't really think that I cared, but it did pull some of my paint off. And as it turns out, it pulled through to some gold. And while I usually don't care for gold, with this frame and this music, I think it worked out great, because just that little bit of gold looked really good, I think. Now with this one, I've already clear coated it and put on the brown antiquing wax from Dixie Belle. But I decided that was too cool of a brown, and I wanted to warm it up because I'm going to be using an old book page in here, and I just felt like I needed to warm that color up, and I was really happy with how it looked. And while I let these dry, then I moved on to my glass that I had decoupaged for these pieces. And obviously I just decoupaged and then let it dry, and then just cut it off once it had dried well. A lot of times I'll sand the edges to give it a good look, but because they're going in the frames and the raw edge is not going to show, then obviously I was able to skip that step here. And I decided with this one to put this bird stamp on here, and to bring out even more of that black in the frame. So I think that turned out to be a good little addition to this frame. And obviously I put my birds at the top because I have plans to put that little nest at the bottom. So just put, if you do a stamp on yours, just make sure that you leave room for your nest. So I think that looks really good with that black coming out in the frame. And I had decoupaged this next one on glass, and I'm not even going to put any backing behind the glass. I'm just going to secure that glass in well, because I like the sheer look of it when it dries. Now I'm trying, and obviously I put that book page in the other one, but now I'm trying a new method for my nest, because I had been making them and just spraying hairspray here and there. But because I wanted these nests to be really secure in this frame, I decided to water down some Elmer's glue, and just Child's Elmer's glue, and work it into just a variety of mosses here. And then I'm going to form these little nests, or obviously in this case it's going to be half nest. I'm just going to kind of form them and let them dry, and then I'm just placing it there to see what size I need this. But I'm just kind of forming it and letting it dry, and I really was happy with how this turned out. So if you're trying a method, if you want a method to make your nest be more secure, then try this. It really works great. And like I said, I just used a little bit of watered down glue. And but now you do need to let these dry overnight. So this will definitely be my new way of making bird's nest. And then as they start to dry, you can just kind of keep shaping them, and it just gives you a lot of time to get the shape that you want. And then the nice thing is that the glue dries clear, so you're not even going to see any of that once it's dry. And then once these are dry, then I just attach them onto the frame with hot glue. And I try to attach them in several places, because if this is hanging on the wall or even standing on a piece of furniture, you want that nest to be really secure. And then we're going to be gluing these eggs in, which have a little bit of weight to them. So what I do is, when I glue these eggs in, instead of just gluing them to the nest, I glue them to the board behind it, or in this case, the glass that's covered with that decoupage. That way, the weight is not on that little nest, it's on the board behind it. I feel like this is such a simple way to create some unique spring wall art. And you could use the robin's egg blue on this. That would be pretty also. I wanted to keep mine neutral. And here I'm stamping spring onto this because I felt like it needed something here at the top. But you'll see later that I felt like that wasn't enough, and so I do go back and change that. And on this one, I feel like if you make sure you paint the back of this and make the back of it look nice, then you could set this one in a window and the light would shine through that clear glass, because the only thing that's here is that decoupage paper over the glass. So that was my reason for leaving this one without anything on the back. And then again, I just put my eggs in there. I generally like to put 3 on some, and that happened on the first one. There wasn't room for 3, but if I can, I like to put 3 eggs on these. But I just think things look better in 3s. This decoupage paper my sister sent me she ordered it from Amazon, and it came to my house, and I've used this decoupage paper a lot. It goes a long way. And here I'm just securing this one really well and adding my eggs here. And I think that this one's my favorite. Like I said, that gold coming through was definitely an accident, but sometimes accidents work out really to our advantage. And in this case, I think it did, because I just really love the look that this one has. I don't know when hot glue was invented, but oh my goodness, can you imagine crafting without it? Now I'm just taking a piece of tea towel that I've already coffee stained, and tearing it where I can, cutting it where I can't to make the size that I need. And when I cut it, I do pull the edge so that I'll have some fraying. And I just wanted to put a little haphazard sign here. I didn't want it to be straight because I'm just going to write the word eggs on this. And I felt like this little fabric would add some character here. If you don't have letter stamps, that would be something that would be one of the first things that I would invest in, because I just think that little bit of wording adds a lot to primitive decor. Now, if you have good handwriting, then obviously you could just do that and just use a Sharpie marker or a little paint marker. Sometimes the Sharpie markers want to bleed on this cloth, so probably a paint marker would be your best bet here. See that simple little bit there added so much to this. And now this frame that I put spring onto that, I decided that it needed a piece of cloth too. And I don't want to make these too detailed, because I do love the simple look, but I feel like it needs something at the top, so I decided to just stamp onto that cloth because I like the look of the other so much. You would think that that little difference there would make that much difference, but it really did, I feel like. And it hasn't taken very long to create these 3 pieces. Now with this one, I decided that I wanted, because there wasn't a hanger on the back of this one, I decided that I wanted just a rustic hanger on it. So I glued my, I just put a knot in each side, but I left a long tail on each side, and then just kind of cut them to the right length. But I did like to leave it kind of long here. And if I had it to do over again, I would have hung my, or glued my cloth, instead of on that raised part there that I glue it on, I would have glued it on the part right behind it, because I didn't really like the way it hung, and I had to work with that. And I know this little bird is way too small for these eggs, but you know, I just felt like it needed a little something there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope I've inspired you to do some of these of your own. They're so simple. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and God bless you and your family.